Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
So you stay in place, I'm getting hungry, I can feel the void taking control. But you'll never know. I hear a scream echo in silence, and my dreams are full of violence. Yeah, I'm lying through my teeth.
I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on My Global Mind, I'm pleased to be speaking with Rex and Zak Cox of the band Uncured to discuss their new LP, Warpath, that comes out today, February 21st. Guys, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Robert, thanks so much for having us. I'm Rex.
And I'm Zach. We're with Uncured, and we are glad to be here.
Thank you, thank you. The album is really ferocious, man. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not familiar with you guys. I'm a new fan. Tell me a little about the origins of the band. How'd you guys put this together?
Well, first of all, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Warpath comes out today at the time of recording this, so it's already out.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure we'll dive into that in a bit, but as far as origins, started playing guitar together.
Yeah, so Rex and I are brothers. We've been playing guitar since we were growing up, like 10 and 12 years old.
Mhm.
We are, 24 and 26 now. That's crazy to say.
Yeah.
But we've been playing guitar together since then. So a very long time at this point. We started writing songs together, when we were like in our teens, like playing guitar, writing songs, trying to start composing. We were inspired by bands like Dream Theater back then, so we tried to learn a lot of technical guitar playing, really improve our skill and our our dexterity. And then we started releasing music in 2017, where we had our first tour. And we've been touring since 2017 all over. Since then we've been fortunate enough to play in all over North America, even a little bit in South America and Europe as well.
That's great. That's great. What inspired you? You talk a little bit about Dream Theater being a major influence. How did you get into Nu Metalcore from Dream Theater? What was the entree?
So we had to, I would say, unlearn some things to improve ourselves as musicians, and one of the biggest thing we had to unlearn is something that other people have definitely fallen victim to. More notes does not equal better.
True.
When you start, when you're at like a bit of a younger age, you want to play fast because it's very cool. And we both 100% fell victim to that, and then I think we kind of both I would say matured out of it right around the time that I switched out of being a guitarist for the band and just a vocalist, and we wanted to really switch our focus to being about writing great songs that are going to resonate with people, and not not just doing things simply for the sake of doing them, or because we can, or because they're difficult to execute.
Yeah.
So that started 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I'm not sure, and then ever since then the focus has been entirely on writing our best songs, and trying to, at least for Warpath, trying to defy expectation and do something that hasn't been done before.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
So our influences started off more in the progressive metal side, and as we as we got older, it's started. We've been listening to more of your new metal staples like Slipknot, as well as your metalcore staples like your Motionless in White, Wage Wars, and that's the direction that we're going towards now. So we've been really getting into all the metalcore, new metal headliners.
Cool.
To say.
Rex, from going guitar to vocals, when did you realize you could do those guttural screams, you could sing, and you could also, the growls, and
Well,
talk fast and sing fast?
I was able to scream before I was able to sing well.
Okay.
But I also at that point wasn't really screaming great. It was more of just just going for it.
Right.
And then it's like anything. It sort of took a long time to develop those skills. And there's not really any one moment where you're like, oh, I can do this now. It's more of a very gradual
Evolution.
evolution. Then I guess you kind of look back and see how far it's come. But it's definitely not like you climb to the top of the mountain and you're like, I have conquered all.
Yeah.
So it's I guess in that way it's both encouraging to keep going, but
Right.
then also it's like, it would be nice to have like a stake in the ground where you can kind of like look back and see. So I guess to answer your question, there really was no moment,
Yeah.
was no like, you know,
I always ask this when I speak with artists similar to yourself. Does your voice hurt after you've sung a song and you've done the growls and you've super fast?
no. Uh,
Yeah.
if your technique is not 100% dialed in, um, you might experience, well, actually, if your technique is wrong, then yes, you will feel that
Yeah.
100%.
If
But
I
if you're
did it today, I would be I'd be confident joking.
Yeah, yeah, well, definitely not choking maybe, but you definitely be coughing, because coughing is one of the more red flag signs of fatigue,
Yeah.
and but if no, you're doing everything correctly, then maybe you'll have a bit of just like a bit of fatigue,
Yeah.
but that's normal. That's like it's sort of like if you were to run a mile, your body can do that, but if you haven't, if that's not something you've conditioned yourself to do, you will definitely feel it for sure.
Right.
It can
Right.
be easy, man.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Zach, you come up with some ferocious riffs. I mean, they're all pummeling on this entire album. What equipment do you use? Tell us a little bit about the gear that you dial up to get that sound.
Of course. So we used to use like back when we started, we used like the classic amplifier head cab setup.
Yeah.
But now as like technology's changed and everything's evolved, the DIs straight into the computer where you do your digital processing has like come so far, and that's really what sounds amazing now. So we've been using the Line 6 Helix as well as the Neural DSP guitar processors on the computer. So those have quite amazing tones. What we do for live is the Line 6 Helix,
Mhm.
while we mostly use the Neural DSP in the studio.
What guitar do you use though? What guitars?
So we are Schecter artists since 2017. So
Great,
we have some of
great
the
instruments.
old Jeff Loomis signature models. My favorite one currently is the SLS Elite with the Fishman pickups. And we have a few Hellraisers as well.
That's great. Yeah, Schecter's fantastic. I used to have one, and they're great guitars. Tell me about the collaboration of songwriting with the other members, yourself, between the two of you. How does it all? Tell me about the process.
The reason that we both kind of took pause to this question is because there's really no one specific process or no one way of
Yeah.
doing things, and I know for some bands and organizations there are, and that works. Us, however, at least on this body of work, this album, I should say,
Mhm.
we went about things very unconventionally every step of the way. So each song kind of came about from a different pathway. And there's the most common answer where it's somebody writes a riff, somebody writes a vocal line, and then
Right.
you build out from there and map it into Pro Tools, and kind of like slowly build out, okay, chorus, do some strumming, but we didn't really do that in this album, and everything was very free form. So it does show in the result, when because I think that the result of the album is very very unique and doesn't quite sound like anything else.
Agree.
So yeah, we actually could not give you a set of rules that
Wow.
we
Yeah.
followed to orchestrate this.
No, that's great. It sounds like it's very organic, and as it spurs up, it happens, and you work from there. And if it's good, you keep it, and if it's not, you toss it. Right.
Right. Yeah, and we have no qualms about throwing things out. We always say if it's good, it'll make it. If it's bad, it won't.
Yeah.
And while that's obviously very simplistic, it's more so like if a song as a whole isn't working, there might be sections that are really good, and even if we forget about their existence, they will come back and they will find their way into another song, and that's actually been the case for a couple of things on this album too. So uh, you'll never be able to tell, which one we just stole from one of our other cut songs because it feels very natural.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I get it. The song 3 Minutes opens with "I Want to Kill Myself." You guys seem like really well-adjusted guys. I was surprised to hear that in the beginning of the song. when you're writing lyrics, is that something that you focus on, the internal struggles, or is it more of like an Alice Cooper, like where he's mimicking a character?
Well, it's I'd say a good cross between the two, but that for that song specifically, that song is that was a very extreme way to start a song, yes. But
Yeah.
that song is about the glorification of recreational drug abuse, specifically in youth culture, and it's about the ways that an entire generation of kids are slowly killing themselves by abusing pharmaceuticals and things like that. So it's yeah, that one is more of the second, which is
Yes.
the
Yeah.
character.
It's not biographical, right?
Yeah, that one is a character playing to symbolize like what is happening to an entire generation, and it applies beyond just like pharmaceuticals. It's also like the slow death that comes with um, being raised by computers and AI, and that's like being so closed off from other people because they're growing up in a different world than even we grew up in.
Yeah. No, that's great. Great response. I appreciate that. I'm glad it's not a cry for help. So no, that's fantastic. You released three singles earlier last year, I would say. Mask of Sanity, Manifesto, 3 minutes. How long has this album been done?
So we've started writing this album probably at this point like over like close to 2 years ago, date uncertain, but we've had all of the songs done for a while, but we've also made changes to some of them like mix wise even and like song album order up until release day. So sorry, until the day we had to post it to the DSPs.
Yeah.
So even though the songs were done, we were always going back in and making tweaks, whether it was changing the mix a little bit or reordering the album. But all of those things, for example, the songs that were already out, like Mask of Sanity, Manifesto, those obviously we couldn't change anymore. But for the rest of Warpath, we were still changing songs before we had to upload them.
No, that's great. And you guys are no strangers to high-profile festival shows. I think you're playing Sonic Temple and Louder Than Life Festival this year. Um, what's it like being from New Jersey and looking out into the audience just to see a massive sea of bodies and performing for that? You get nervous? Do you get worked up? I mean, what's the thought process as you look out there?
Oh no, so we've been performing since 2017, and we've even had the chance to play at like Summer Breeze in Germany, which was like one of the biggest things we've got to do. So having that experience early on has really
Yeah.
shaped us and prepared us for like the festival crowds. And what we've come to learn over the years is that it's actually easier to play for a larger crowd than it is to a smaller crowd. Like sometimes at those, like obviously every band coming up has those club shows that are, not the greatest attendance, to be fair.
Yeah.
And that's more difficult than playing to just like huge, massive crowd.
How do you win over the fan? How do you win over 150,000 people or try to win over as many of those 150,000 people as possible?
150,000 is a little
Uh,
Well, some of these shows are pretty big, so right?
yeah. um well, we really don't worry about it
Good.
because we go out there and we do our best performance, and our stage show is much more tailored towards a big stage, a big crowd. And we ideally would love to have big production in the future. So yeah, truthfully, we don't worry about it, and I think that mindset is really it translates, right? Like you're
Yeah.
not if like you go into a meeting with somebody and you can tell they're trying their absolute hardest to impress you, you're almost like a little weary of that person. Whereas if they're confident in what they bring to the table,
Yep.
you'll trust them more as well. So that's just how we all naturally approach it.
That's a great way to look at it. Zach, you talked about playing in Germany. What's each of you guys must have your own favorite live performance memory, best live performance memory. Could you tell me each of yours?
I think we'd probably both end up actually gravitating towards the same. We had the opportunity to play in South America back in 2020 before like everything shut down for a while. So Like there was times in like Sao Paulo, Brazil, where you know, like there's fans gathered at the airport, and
Wow.
like crowding the venue outside before you even get there. And those were just some massive shows. So probably we would definitely I would say Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easily.
They're rabid fanatics down in South America that blow anything out of the water in America, I think, as far as fan wise. I've seen so many videos of Maiden playing, and the people are just so energetic and so enthusiastic. So it must, I could see why that would be one of your favorites.
Oh yeah.
You guys have a tour coming up too. You have a tour, the Roadside Rumble, that's coming up. What songs are you looking forward to performing live? How much time do you have to perform too for these?
So I believe for this upcoming tour we will have a 30-minute set. So we've been playing some of these new songs last year as well on even though they were unreleased. But in our 30-minute set you could expect Mask of Sanity, Perfect Specimen, Fall in Line, Bleed Me Dry, and Detonate, just to name a few.
Okay, how about Prostitute? That's a good song too.
That's in our 30.
No, it might be in the 30.
You know what? That one might be.
All right.
We have played it last year as well, and it always is a really fun one because it's also it's a relatively short song, but we did add on an extended solo section at the end where Rex also plays a guitar solo.
Oh, that's cool.
And
For
then
old time's sake. Yeah.
and then we play a harmonized solo together, which is very fun. So that's not on the recording, but we do have some extra special live treats for people who come to see it.
No, I'd love to see that. That was one of my favorite songs on the album, so I really liked it. So if you guys play New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, I'd love to come and see you guys play with that. I want to be respectful of your time. I have one last question. Where do you see the band next in the next few years? What are some of the goals that you're aiming to achieve?
So we have a bunch of short-term short. I think I misspoke that the other day when we had an interview. We have a bunch of short-term goals, such as we'd like to, open up for some of our favorite bands, like, the Wage Wars, Motionless in Whites,
Yeah.
bands like that. And obviously, like slightly longer term, we'd love to open up for some larger acts, such as like Slipknot, one of our favorites and icons in metal. And then that's just like for our opening goals. But obviously, down the road, we'd like to be a sustainable full-time headlining band where we could draw, whether like a few hundred in every city. That would really be that'd be fantastic.
That's great. Well, guys, I really enjoyed speaking with you, and thank you for sharing the insights to the album. I found it really interesting and insightful. So thank you so much.
Robert, thank you. We appreciate it.
Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.